Welcome to lesson 11.4. In this lesson, we're going to talk about an idea called margin of error, which I think is a very interesting idea in statistics. So we're going to start with quite a bit of reading because margin of error is kind of a very new idea, and I want to make sure you really understand what it's talking about. So let's start right here. When we complete a survey, we're not actually going to ask every single person in our population. And we've been talking about this all chapter long. We very rarely have the time and resources to ask every single person we want to know stuff about. For example, if I ask stuff about MRHS students, it's going to be really hard to ask every single student at MRHS. So instead, we take a sample. So let's go through a situation. Let's say I want to find the average age of people who live in Harriman. The average age of people who live in Harriman. I'm probably not going to be able to ask every single person who lives in Harriman how old they are. That's just not realistic. So instead, I'm going to take a sample of the population and then infer stuff from that sample. So take the sample and then find out from that sample, okay, if they all said this, then everybody would probably say this. But my sample's not always very accurate. So let's say I decide to ask every student at MRHS to find the average age of everyone who lives in Harriman. That's not very accurate. I'm probably going to get an average age of 17. But that's definitely not the average age of everyone who lives in Harriman. So we introduce this idea of margin of error. Margin of error will tell you an interval, and your true average, your true answer will lie in that interval. So let's say I ask everyone at MRHS and I find that the average age is 17. But I calculate the margin of error and it tells me the true average age is actually between 16 and 32. That sounds a lot more accurate. The average age of people who live in Harriman is probably more likely in that interval, not the 17 I got from everyone I asked at MRHS. So let's be clear. A margin of error is not a mistake. It is the expected range that your true answer lies in. Now, the margin of error is based on the sample size and your desired confidence level. So let's talk about what a confidence level is. If I want to be more confident that my actual average age is somewhere in my interval, then my interval is going to get bigger. So let's say I'm 90% confident that the true average age of someone in Harriman is between 23 and 34. That's pretty confident and that's pretty good age. However, I could also find I'm 99% confident that the true average age of someone in Harriman is between 8 and 59. Well, yeah, the actual average age of people in Harriman is probably going to be between 8 and 59. That's why I can be so confident that it's going to happen that way. I can be less confident that it's in this smaller interval, or more confident that it's in a bigger interval. For most of the time, and especially for what we're going to do, a 95% confidence level is a pretty good confidence level in between those things. So that's what we're going to be computing. We will always be computing 95% confidence levels. So that would mean I am 95% certain that the actual thing I want is in this interval. So let's do another example. The student body officers at your school conduct a survey to determine whether or not students like music playing in the hall between classes. So they randomly interview students and determine that 52% of students don't like the music, with a margin of error of 3% calculated at a 95% confidence level. So if we find it's 52%, we can add our confidence level and add our margin of error and subtract our margin of error to get an interval. So 52 plus 3 is 55%. 52 minus 3 is 49%. So we can say we are 95% certain that between 49% and 55% of students actually don't like the music playing between classes. So, should we make a decision yet? Should we cancel all the music between classes, or should we do more research? We should probably do more research at this point, because it is possible that only 49% of students don't like the music. That's in our interval. So we can't say for sure that a majority of students don't like the music. We can just say probably. So we probably shouldn't make any decisions quite yet. Maybe throw out a couple more surveys and compare them. So one thing to keep in mind, like I just said, the more samples I take, the more reliable my information is. So if I'm not confident enough with this interval, then do more surveys, and you can start to get a better idea of your true answer. So, hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what margin of error is, what a confidence level is. In the next video, we'll go through and actually start to do some examples.